Hello everyone, I'm Broughy1322 and welcome to the recap video for the 7th round of the Multi-Class Endurance Championship Season 3. This was held on Olympic Grand Prix. We were racing in SUVs. GT1 drivers were in the Huntley S, GT2 drivers were in the Habanero, and GT3 drivers were in the Patriot. There was a 0% chance of rain for this race. We've pretty much done all of the rain races at this point. The only race left that has a certain amount of chance of rain is round 9 on Los Santos Grand Prix, but even that is only a 20% chance of rain happening, so chances are we're not going to see any more rain races for the rest of the season. So this was completely dry on all platforms. As always, we'll start with the Xbox One side, and I'm also going to go over the championship standings when I've finished talking about the race as well, and I'll keep updating you with each of these recap videos on what the championship standings are like. But first up, with the Xbox side in GT1, Crazy Man got a incredible win. You know, he started on pole position, very similar to what Calavera did in round 6, starting on pole, leading from start to finish, and that was pretty much it. You know, quickest lap time, didn't really look back at any point. Calavera came home in 2nd place. He was in 3rd place for a while, but just stayed out of all the trouble, managed to get up into 2nd and then never looked back. He actually, interestingly, he pointed out himself at the end that he had the 2nd slowest lap in the entirety of GT1 in terms of best lap time. But you know, that's the benefit of just staying out of trouble, not making mistakes, having good race pace. He had a very slow best lap, but he didn't need to have a very good best lap because he came in 2nd anyway. So that's how, you know, these races can go, and it's not always about who's the quickest over a single lap. I ended up coming over home in 3rd place. You've probably seen the video by now. That was absolutely crazy that I managed to do that. You know, what a race that was. That was probably simultaneously my worst and best performance in the entirety of Season 3 of the Multi-Class Endurance Championship. The first 5-6 laps were absolutely horrendous, making so many mistakes, having so many issues. But from that point on, I was the quickest guy out there, and that's not really happened at any point throughout the course of this championship on any of the platforms. For me to have such a good race and such good race pace, I do like the Huntley S and I do like Olympic GP, and it's a shame that I kind of had those first couple of laps where it was, you know, way off the pace, making mistakes all the time. But I'm really happy with my performance after that, and it shows that I guess I've still got it in certain situations. You know, I can still put in good lap times, make those overtaking moves, be smart in traffic, and it ultimately paid off because I ended up overtaking everybody despite being so far behind them at many points throughout the course of the race. I managed to come back through the field and finish in an amazing 3rd, so pretty crazy that. But Blue Eyed Malice got the points for another 4th place, so he's again putting some decent points in there for GT1. For the GT2 race, Blodia X5 got another win. That's his 3rd win of the season. In 2nd place was Trumpet Master, who got his 1st win of the season in round 6. And in 3rd place was Equation with his best result of the season. Good result from him there. The GT2 battle was, I don't think there was really that much of a battle, to be honest. It was Blodia X5 was leading the race most of the time, and Trumpet Master was in 2nd most of the time. So there wasn't really a lot going on, and I think it was in GT2 on all the platforms. It was just a case of trying to stop the Habanero from rolling over. You may have seen some footage from other people, but the Habanero does have a tendency to roll over quite a lot. And yeah, it was difficult to manage that. But yeah, I'll talk about my own performance in GT2 and managing that rolling aspect of the Habanero when it comes to the PS4 side. But yeah, another good win from Blodia X5. In GT3, it was Ducati Doctor who got his 2nd win of the season. A good performance from him. There was we saw in the highlights video when we were coming around in GT1 to lap the GT3s for the first time. They were very, very close together, having a very close battle. 2nd place ultimately in GT3 was Squillum93, and Wolfie Bigtail came home in 3rd. They were all having a very good battle, I think, most of the way through the race, and it's interesting that there is such a close battle in GT3, and as I mentioned, I think last week, those three are the pretty much the title contenders moving forward as well. So yeah, Ducati Doctor got his second win of the season, and he's obviously my teammate on the Ron Racing team. So yeah, good points there, and it looks like it's going to be a very close championship battle on Xbox One. Now I will show the championship standings on the screen now. For GT1 on Xbox One, I am currently leading the championship, but I would say that that's more because other people have missed rounds. And obviously, with the championship, only your best 7 results count. So we're in round 7 now. Basically, what that means is, for example, if my worst score is 4 points in round 4. If I was to get a win, a victory, that would give me 15 points, but my total score, that's 70 points that I've got now, wouldn't increase by 15 points. It would only increase by 11 because I'm adding that 15 points, but I'm also taking away the 4 points for my worst result. So only your best 7 rounds count out of the 10 in total. And obviously that means that there's some people further down the list. Calavera, for example, who's in 3rd place, he's missed 3 rounds. His points aren't going to sort of mean anything until it gets to the final round, and he's got 7 rounds and 7 point scoring rounds all completed, because he's always going to be suffering the fact that he's missed those rounds and he doesn't have any points for that. But it is all going to work out by the end, and he will be able to get 7 point scoring rounds. So yeah, this is why I've been hesitant to talk about the championship a little bit, because it is only your best 7 rounds that count. But you know, I'll leave it in at these in these recap videos to show you guys exactly who's where in the championship and all that kind of stuff. I'm doing well in the GT1 championship, which was a big surprise to me, to be honest. But as I said, that's probably because other people have dropped rounds, and it's going to be very close when it comes to the end of the championship and round 10 between myself, Crazy Man, and Calavera. I would say it's going to be very, very close and very interesting to see how that happens, because I haven't had a win yet, and wins really do help in terms of point scores. So for GT2 on the Xbox One, Blodia X5 is currently leading the championship. He has the same number of dropped rounds at the moment as Trumpet Master. Again, that's going to all work itself out as the championship goes on. King Blaze has put in some really good performances, and he has more dropped rounds as well. So they're going to all sort of culminate towards the end of the championship. But ultimately, it is Blodia X5 who's in the lead of that at the moment. And on GT3, Squillum93 is in the lead there, but it's only 4 points separating him and Wolfie Bigtail in 2nd place, although he has 1 less round with a point score. And Ducati Doctor's in 3rd place, only 10 points behind the leader. Again, that's all going to sort of culminate towards the end, because Ducati Doctor does have only two rounds where he only scored 2 points. So those are going to be dropped, and he'll be able to make up some ground on that. So quite interesting with the championship. It is still a little bit too early even now, but I'm just leaving it in just to keep you guys up to date. In the teams championship on Xbox One, it's Presservex who are miles ahead at this point with 215 points. Vanilla Unicorn in a sort of reasonably solid 2nd place with 183. But my team, the Ron Racing team, are very close with 174, only 9 points behind. So we'll see if we can get into that 2nd place by the end of the season. Now I'll move on to the PC side for round 7. And this was quite interesting, because for GT1 on PC, we had Smithy112 as a reserve driver. Now obviously Smithy is a name that you probably know from the PS4 side. He is a GT1 driver on PS4. He's actually my teammate on the Ron team there. He was a reserve driver for the PC side, and he won the race, and it was a very, very close battle between him and Fab Iceman. It shows that it's a good thing that, you know, we can have the top drivers from different platforms be able to race with other platforms and other guys, and be able to compete. And we saw that last week as well on round 6. When we had Calavera from the Xbox One GT1 side, he participated in the PS4 race and finished 2nd. You know, that just goes to show And the fact that Smithy went on the PC side and won that race, and it was very, very close between him and Fab Iceman, it just goes to show that the top guys are the top guys regardless of the platform, and they're always going to be quick. But yeah, Smithy did a great job to finish in the lead. They were having a good battle all the way through the race, him and Fab Iceman, and swapping positions all the time. Smithy ultimately just got ahead, I think, in the closing laps, and Fab Iceman made a little mistake, which meant he couldn't try and get that position back. But props to both of those guys for some very, very good racing all the way through. Doom Penguin came home in third place to again get some good points for the championship for GT1. GT2 for the PC side, we had Mountain Man take his second win of the season, his second win in 2 weeks as well. So he won round 6 and he's also won round 7 as well. Once again, I keep mentioning that he came in new to the championship in round 5, so he's not going to be able to get a full 7-point scores. But he's putting in some very, very good performances, and he's keeping Machiski up there, who came home in second place. So it will be interesting to see if Machiski can get another win and beat Mountain Man once again, because he's putting in some good performances, but there are still 3 rounds to go. In GT3, I ended up coming home in 4th place in this race because I just lost all concentration. Thronebreaker got his second win of the season. Well deserved, because he led pretty much from start to finish. I think there were a few issues, and John managed to catch him up by a significant amount, but ultimately he ended up winning the race. John came home in second place. Once again, those two sharing the top 2 spots, as they have so often done. And yeah, it's kind of showing to me that I need to make sure that I have all of the upgrades on the cars. I'm not going to take off the transmission or the turbo or whatever, just because those two have really upped their games, and they're pretty quick now. So yeah, Brad Starr came home in 3rd place, is equaling his best result of the season. And you know, as you probably saw from the highlights, I just completely lost all concentration near the end. With these PC races in GT3, when I'm not able to fight at the front, but I'm also miles ahead of whoever's in sort of behind me, it does get a little bit boring, and all my concentration was just gone at that point. So I'll try to give a better performance in the next round. When it comes to the Drivers' Championship on PC, GT1 has Doom Penguin in the lead. Avivo Jr. is in 2nd, Super Step is in 3rd, and Fab Iceman is in 4th. I would say those 4 are definitely going to be the title contenders by the time we get to round 10. There's a few dropped rounds in there. Doom Penguin's got a score of 1. Avivo's got a score of 0. Super Stepper has a score of 3 and 4. Fab Iceman has 2 dropped rounds as well, 2 scores of 0. So all of those won't matter by the end, assuming that these guys all get proper results in rounds 8, 9 and 10. Those dropped rounds, those low scoring rounds won't matter to the final total. But ultimately at the moment it is Doom Penguin who's in the lead, and he does have some really, really good point scores there, so it will be difficult to overhaul him. But it's going to be interesting to see how that all culminates together at the end of the season. GT2, Machiski is a big leader in GT2 on the PC side. 76 points to the Bad Losers 54 in 2nd place. It's a very interesting and very close battle for 2nd place, I would say, in GT2. You've got Chill, who's on 51, Sugar Free Nos on 42, Blaz on 40 as well. But you've also got Mountain Man in there, who's also on 42, but he's got those 42 points from only 3 point scores, so it's very possible that he'll be able to overhaul everybody and get up into 2nd place. In GT3, I am currently leading that with 88 points to Thronebreaker's 72. John is on 57, but Thronebreaker's got some low scoring rounds with a 2 points and 6 points. John has 2 scores of 0 because he entered the championship from round 3. So once again, those are going to be discounted and not taken into account in the final scores once we get to round 10 and some better scores are added to that. So yeah, again, it's going to be interesting to see how that all works out towards the end of the season. In the team's championship, we've got LSDWP, which is the Los Santos Department for Water and Power, in a huge lead here with 231 points ahead of Ron Racing, which is in 2nd with 165. There is an interesting battle for second place. You know, Ron are on 165, Children of the Mountain are on 161, U-Tool are on 157, and Richard's Majestic are on 154. It's a very, very close battle between those four for second place, but ultimately LSDWP are miles ahead and putting in some really good performances, because they've pretty much got the three title contenders in their team, with a Vivo in GT1, Machiski, the GT2 leader, and GT3 with John, who's always in the top two at this point. So putting in some really, really good point scores there, and they're a really strong team. Now the PS4 side, and GT1 on the PS4, Smithy112 got his second GT1 victory of the weekend. And it was quite weird to say that, and quite weird to have that aspect, but he obviously he got his first GT1 win on the Saturday, reserving for the PC side, and then he came into the GT1 race on PS4 as a favourite, having won that PC race, and he got the win there as well. He actually started in last position, because I started in last position as well. All the teams start in the same place from week to week, so everybody on the Ron Racing team for round 7 was starting in last place. He started in last place. He managed to work his way through the field and ultimately came home another winner. Picano came in second place, which was a really good result, and he was quite close, and him and Smithy were battling it out for a while and quite close to each other, but ultimately Smithy just had the pace to hold him off. And Macy came home in third place, putting in a good performance to get on the podium after a few lower scoring rounds ever since his win in second place in rounds 2 and 3. Now for GT2, this was quite interesting because it had a few different names at the front compared to what we're used to seeing. We had Mike BWFC get his second win of the season. He got a win in round 1 on Blaine County, but since then he's had sort of 5th and 4ths. Hasn't really lived up to that 15 points that he got in round 1, but it came to the Vans race in round 7 and he got another 15 points, you know, straight in there. Really good performance, you know, just got into the lead quite early on and never really looked back. I think maybe had a few issues later on in the race with traffic, but ultimately had a dominant performance and not really a lot going on from his perspective. Almarodko had a really good result to come in second place. That was his best result of the season. The best result he'd had before that was third. So yeah, great to see him get a second place. And I got I would say a hard fought third place. Again, I started at the back of the grid, so I was pretty happy with that third place. It was very hard fought with Abe Gunners. Abe Gunners was definitely the quickest guy out there over a single lap, and I was having to defend and battle him, and it was all about managing the traffic and all that kind of stuff. Very, very interesting race, and I enjoyed it racing with him during that. And I certainly enjoyed the specific moment with myself, him, and Evil going 3 wide at the end of the back straight. We very impressed that none of us managed to crash there. So yeah, it was a decent race, and certainly a significantly different race to what I'd been experiencing in the last couple of rounds, and really happy to put in at least a reasonable performance on the PS4 side, because I haven't been able to do that recently. Unfortunately, unbelievably, Tom Tad didn't make the race. Obviously, Tom Tad is the main championship contender. He didn't make the race for round 7. I'm not sure why. We tried to invite him at the time, but he was playing FIFA, so I don't know where he was, but I'm sure he'll be back in round 8 and going for the win once again. In GT3, Jonty got his second win of the season and his second win in 2 weeks. He won round 6 as well. Another great performance from him, just got into the lead and never looked back. 40 got a good second place, putting in, he, apart from the one round that he disconnected in round 6, he's had wins or second place. When he hasn't won the race, he's been second. So really, really good points there, and putting in a really good championship performance. And Druba got a good third place as well. He's had 2 second places in the last 2 rounds, and he's definitely showing the speed that he always had, and he's putting in the performances that his skill deserves, I guess you could say. So for the championship for the PS4 side, we've got Smithy is currently in the lead. he's a pretty big leader at the moment. I mean, Picano's got 2 low scoring rounds, which you would expect to be not taken into account at the end of the championship, but Smithy also has that 4 points from round 1 as well, which that will improve by the time we get to the end. So he's in the lead by 20 points there, which is quite a significant margin, and he's got a good with 4 wins. He's got a very good stranglehold, I would say, on the GT1 championship. Picano is in a solid second place, but he's got Macy not too far behind him, 13 points behind in third. And interestingly, I think after the top 3 positions, it's going to be interesting to see who gets that 4th place and the 5th and the 6th, because there's quite a few guys in there who aren't in the championship anymore but got some good scores, like Shaggy, for example, G Unit. We'll have to see if any of the guys below him who are more regularly or still in the championship can overhaul the points that he got in those first 3 rounds. And it's an interesting mix, because we've got people who joined the championship later on as well. They should be coming up as well, so it'll be interesting to see the total scores that we get by the end of the championship. Now for GT2 on PS4, this was actually, this is GT2 on the PS4 is easily the best attended field. It was actually from up to round 6, we had every single driver from GT2 be at every single round on the PS4 side, so there was no need for reserve drivers and nobody missed a round. Obviously that didn't happen for round 7, but it's been really great to have at least one championship that didn't really need reserve drivers, because every other championship and every other GT class has needed quite a few reserve drivers throughout the course of the season. But TomTad is still in the lead in the GT2 championship, despite having missed a round, despite having not scored anything at all in round 7. He's still in the lead of the championship with those wins, 2nd places and 3rd. Obviously that dropped score, that 0 point score, isn't going to make a difference when he scores some more points in the last few rounds. Abe Gunners is only 1 point behind him, but again he's had an extra round scored there, and I'm in 3rd place at the moment, quite far off the lead. Not really. I doubt I'll be able to challenge for the top 2 spots at this point. Abe and TomTad are quite far ahead in terms of points, so we'll see what I can do to maybe try and keep that 3rd place. In the GT3 side for the championship, 40, as I mentioned, is putting in some really great results. When he's not winning, he's 2nd place, and that's given him 82 points at the top of the championship. Similar to Smithy in the GT1 side, he's 20 points ahead of Jonty, who's in 2nd place. And I would say you've got an interesting battle for 3rd place in GT3. In fact, you've probably got an interesting 4-way battle for 2nd place, because Jonty isn't too far ahead of Drubert, who in turn isn't too far ahead of Futuro Campcolon, and he's only 1 point ahead of I'm Awesome. So it'll be interesting to see who gets the better of that by the end of the championship. But at the moment, it looks like 40 is in a good position to take that. Now for the teams side, Ron Racing is actually in the lead here with only by 8 points ahead of Richards Majestic. So it's going to be an interesting battle between obviously Smithy and El Mister in GT1. These are the protagonists on each team. Myself and Abe Gunners on GT2, and Campcolon and 40 in GT3. It's very, very close, because the teams are very well balanced in that respect. So it's going to be very, very small number of points that decide this team's championship on the PS4. Hopefully Ron can actually do it, because Ron have never actually won a team's championship. So it would be nice for Ron to be able to get a team's championship, but it's so close at the top, only 8 points after 7 rounds with such high scores, 198 to 190. It's going to be very, very close, and it should be an interesting battle to see who finishes in 3rd place in the team's championship as well, because there's some quite close points there. And if you look a bit further down, you've got Pegasus and Fleecer Bank both on 134 points each, with Devon Weston only 2 points ahead of that. So yeah, going to be very, very close, and very interesting to see how the team's championship goes. So yeah, that's pretty much it for round 7 of the Multi-Class Endurance Championship Season 3. Let me know what you thought down below. Did you like seeing the championship standings, or would you prefer me to just sort of include it maybe on round 9 and 10 when it's getting actually closer and it actually means something. But yeah, if you guys want to see the championship standings, I'll do that for round 8 as well. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate the support. There's only 3 rounds to go at this point, 3 more races. Well, 9 for me technically, but yeah, 3 races on each platform, and then the championship will be over and we will crown some champions in each GT on each platform. So thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. Let me know all your thoughts down below, and I'll see you next time.